Links und wo genau?
Ja, außen oben. Ne?
Das wäre ganz wichtig, dass Sie achten darauf, welche Deos Sie benutzen. Also ich würde darauf achten, welche Zusatzstoffe da drin sind und was wichtig ist, dass da kein Aluminium dabei ist.
Aluminium.
Ja, richtig. Da würde ich kein Risiko eingehen.
Gut, mach ich.
Okay.
Most of that just doesn't penetrate the skin. There's some issue that if you shaved under your arms and you damaged the skin, that you could get more aluminium going in. But again, it's the levels which you could imagine being transferred to the body are so small compared with any levels which we think are toxic.
A good 2/3 of deodorants contain aluminium compounds as an active ingredient. Aluminium reacts with the skin cells and bonds them in a way that they can't sweat anymore. At the University of Vienna, a team of scientists does research on the cause of allergies. In order to test new therapies, they need someone who's ill. It's been known for quite some time that injecting bodies with aluminium hydroxide can trigger any kind of allergy, in animals, for instance. It now turns out that you can make mice allergic if you feed them apples or nuts, together with medications for heartburn. These drugs contain aluminium hydroxide as an active substance. And apparently, aluminium turns the immune system against a simultaneously administered substance. Aluminium is the only abundant element on Earth that has no use for any biological function of any animate being. That is extremely unusual from an evolutional point of view, because one of nature's principles is to use everything available in a positive sense.
We have not managed to identify one single benefit of aluminium in terms of promoting any biological system. Clearly, it's a huge benefit to mankind as in material science and the many ways in which we use aluminium in the aluminium age. But does it benefit any biochemical system? And we're not just talking about humans, we're talking about from the smallest bacterium right through to humans. We have no evidence that any organism actively uses aluminium for any beneficial purpose.
Behavior.
She became extremely weak and gradually she lost everything. And then on one occasion she looked at me and said quietly, "Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye." And that's the last time she spoke to me.
Soon afterwards, Doug Cross's wife died at the age of 59. The coroner requested Christopher Exley to make an examination of Carol Cross's brain and check the concentration of aluminium.
There is no normal level. Normal level would be no aluminium. The reality is that we all have aluminium in our brain. Something like 1 or 2 micrograms of aluminium per gram of tissue dry weight. What we have found, for example, in certain cases of Alzheimer's disease, is that this figure might be as high as 4, 5, or 6. In one of the samples from Mrs. Cross's brain, we found 23 micrograms per gram dry weight, which is almost unheard of. One of the highest levels that we have ever measured, and we have probably measured more brains and aluminium contents of human brains than probably any other group in the world.
Nice to meet you, Phil.
In many regions of Europe, as in Britain, aluminium is used to purify drinking water. Aluminium does what it's best at. It connects with the next best molecule, in this case, with the dirt particles in the water. They become heavier and get stuck in the filter or the infiltration basin.
Mit dem Polyaluminiumchlorid können wir dann auch nochmal bei uns im Wasserwerk eine Flockungsanlage betreiben, wo dann auch nochmal diese Teilchen gebunden werden und dann ist es dieses sogenannte Trinkwasser. Dann ist es definitiv sauber.
Dentist Gerhard Breuer from Berlin was diagnosed with Alzheimer's 3 years ago. Simple, everyday tasks become a real challenge for him, and also for his partner Birgit.
Weiß jemand, wo mein Wagen ist?
We do not know whether aluminium is a contributory factor or indeed a cause of Alzheimer's disease, but it doesn't change anything about the fact that aluminium is a neurotoxin. It doesn't change anything about the fact that aluminium is associated with the main pathological features of Alzheimer's disease. It doesn't change the fact that if you live in certain areas with a certain amount of aluminium in your water supply, you'll have a higher incidence of Alzheimer's disease in those areas.
The muscles show suspiciously infected areas where plenty of killer cells of the immune system have gathered. These so-called macrophages are filled up with aluminium particles. Aluminium is added to vaccines to increase their efficiency. Experts regard these additives as a dirty little secret, because nobody knows exactly how aluminium raises the effectiveness and what aluminium does to the body subsequently.
Everybody thought it was eliminated promptly after injection in the urine. Now we know it is not the case. The body can retain for more than 15 years the aluminium in the body, and nobody knows exactly what is the fate of this aluminium in the body. Will it be eliminated by the urine one day? Even this is not clear.
Gerardi and his team found out that in most humans or animals, the aluminium is broken down. But for a small percentage, these metal ions remain in the body for years.
A part of particles escape from the injected muscle and disseminate throughout the body and can enter to distant sites after circulation for months and months in the blood circulation and penetrate progressively in distal organs such as spleen, but also liver, and at the end, very lately and very slowly, into the brain.
In May 2012, experts meet at a World Congress for Autoimmune Diseases held in Granada, Spain. For the first time, aluminium is at the center of attention.
This is the biggest autoimmunity meeting ever. It has 2,300 participants. And we have 2 or 3 sessions dedicated to the issue of adjuvants.
It's a combination of magnesium carbonate and aluminium hydroxide.
Can cause autoimmune phenomena or autoimmune diseases.
But there's very little doubt that aluminum is a neurotoxin. And it does quite a range of things, impairment of memory, cognition, and psychomotor control.
Understanding the way aluminium works is the answer to understanding its effectiveness.
Inert mineral particles can enter the brain using a Trojan horse mechanism. This is very important. Particles of aluminium can penetrate the brain as a cool particle.
To many of those attending these sessions, it was a novel information. Our